Tune Radio, where the world tunes in. The West Coast's premier podcast network.
Hi, this is Mama G. I have my PhD in parental household discipline. Whatever you have in your household, I probably raised it, taught it, loved it, spanked it, punished it, and definitely prayed over it.
The West Coast's premier podcast network.
Good evening, everyone. This is Mama G from World Tune Radio. And tonight I have a special guest, a friend of mine in the community, Rob Howard. And we're going to talk about fatherhood and what the city means to us and what he plans to do to help the city. And he just got promoted to a wonderful commission, I hear.
That's not official yet. I don't know that that's official.
Okay, well, the birdie told me they like you.
Okay.
And they called me up and asked me, what do I think about Rob? I said, he's okay. I don't want to give him the big head, but he's okay. But tonight we're doing a pre-Father Day special because next week is Father's Day. And you know my young producers, they have to have a weekend off. So we're going to celebrate Father's Day. We're going to talk about Juneteenth and what our city can do to help others in the community. So let's get started. Now, Mr. Howard, you're going to give me a little summary of your wonderful life and career. How about that?
Well, first of all, thank you for the invite. Really enjoy spending because we got a chance to talk before the show about a lot of things that are going on in the city because this is a really active and wonderful place to be. But I've, spent time in the military. I was in the Navy, spent 6 years in the Navy, got injured. And when I left the Navy, I shortly after leaving started working at Edison. I was an operator and a licensed operator at the nuclear facility. Was there for 31 years, got laid off in October. Once all the fuel was on the dry cask storage pad, and which is a whole nother conversation around nuclear waste, right, what we do about it and stuff like that. We can get into that. That's a whole nother show, and I can bring you some professionals in that would love to talk to you about this nuclear waste. But after that, after getting laid off, you kind of have to reinvent yourself.
Yeah.
I've been spending a lot of time doing, work in the community, helping out where I can, doing some consulting in the energy industry. So I am really just enjoying the fact that I live in a place that a lot of people are trying to come. They pay a lot of money to come visit.
Yes, they do. I was surprised of the income and the class of people that come. Because I remember Hollywood would come down here often. Mm-hmm. I saw Don Cornelius one time at McDonald's and other folks. Kim Fields came through and spent some time here. This is the secret hideaway from those who want to get away from the hustle and bustle of Oceanside.
Well, I think it probably used to be the hideaway, but if you look at the traffic on the 5, it's not so much a place to hide anymore. But no, it's one of those things, though. If you look at, I know you mentioned wanting to talk a little bit about the city. One of the things we have to really reckon with is not just spending an inordinate amount of resources and time downtown. We have other areas of the city that we really ought to be considering developing. And so those are the kind of things, because I just firmly believe you build people up. And if you are concerned about crime, then ensure that there are resources so that young people and older folks have options. So that's what I'm really like now. We're looking at some of the things we can do at the different high schools, looking at career technical education. They have a great program over at Oceanside High School, Career Tech Ed. Shout out Dr. V, principal over there, and the folks who are working in and the career tech ed. But there's just a lot of things that we need to really kind of put in place. We have NAACP has their youth count, the NAACP Youth Council, which is an organization where they just worked on a leadership training program with Tri-City Hospital. And in doing that, they got the skills not only to figure out what they want to do with their life, but they're getting trained to trainer training to be able to train others. So I just think the investment, because fatherhood is more than just about paying the bills.
Oh, well, let's get into what a father is. I was raised by a stern guy. He didn't tell me I was his favorite because I was first, and because I had a physical challenge growing up, he wouldn't let me say no or I can't do it. He
Right.
was like, no, you're going to do this. No, you're going to do this. Only way you're going to be handicapped if you don't have anything in your brain. And then I had to wear a brace on my leg. I had to do an exercise because my left side is smaller than my right side. But once I got my brace off and I went to public school, a young man walked me home and he said, oh, now see, it's working out. It's working out. And then when I went to Dorsey High School, I made history. I put out the most papers in the year at Dorsey High School, the first student editor. And then from there, I got to work on the Tom Bradley's campaign for mayor. And then I met everybody who was on city council at that point. So, but after a while, once I got older, my mother said, did you know you were his favorite? I said, no, I wasn't.
You couldn't tell.
But fatherhood is quite different for everybody else. So you tell me your definition of fatherhood.
Well, I think it's kind of broad. I would say for me, the whole fatherhood piece was really made whole through motherhood. And so it's a lot of what my wife did as a mother worked well with how I, as a young father, was what I learned from my dad. My dad worked 12 hours a day, 6 days a week. He pastored a couple of churches in Arkansas. We lived in Memphis. We would have to drive, but he would always, Saturday night, even as little kids, he'd make sure we got our bath. We did all that. But it was the old school provider.
Right.
He was adamant against my mom going to work. She had to be the stay-at-home mom, which was not that he was against other people who were working, because I had cousins that came to our house. And so our house was the hub. And plus my mom was from the country. And if you know anything about country girls, they was cooking. And so there was cakes, pies, cookies, all this other stuff around the house. So the neighborhood kids were there. But we always knew if you got in trouble, you was going to have to deal with my dad. And so it was like, oh, man. It was easier to stay out of trouble.
Now, but today's father is quite different. Today's father, because you see a lot of young men and some people just call them sperm donors, and they leave the family and do their thing, and then they come back when the kids are older, or they have part-time fathers. How can we get those young men who don't understand that community starts at home, because they are our legacy. The children today will be tomorrow's legacy.
Right. But what I will say is, the first thing is, what a lot of people don't realize is you start looking at statistics about who spends more time with their children. Black fathers do. Ooh. Statistically. So we have to challenge these myths and really lean into the fact that, because they know they've been loved by their moms. They know what is necessary, but we don't see it on TV. We don't see it. I'm a data person. I like data. I like facts. I believe in truth. And in our country today, we got a war on truth. And so I believe in truth. And so what I would say for the fathers of today is to recognize that your kids are young people today have it tougher than we did because they're exposed. There are cameras in everybody's hand. There's more stations of information to watch on cable. We had 4.
That's right.
We had ABC, CBS, NBC, and then we got a local station.
Right.
And then PBS. So 5.
Right.
So you pretty much, and I was the remote. You know, when my dad would call, come here, boy, and we were like, who we talking to? One of us better show up. So a lot of it is they have so many more challenges. And so with that, that's where the community comes in. Like, because my dad was a pastor and he worked with the church and worked with young people, he was always, because I used to get jealous because he would give to other people so much. And so when you're young, you're singular focused. It's all about you.
Right.
As you get older, you begin to recognize, and because of that, he taught what I learned from my dad was a giving spirit.
Right.
And recognizing that your giving shows where you are. And if you had, my dad used to say, look, boy, let me tell you something. That's how my dad talked. If you have it to give, you're the blessed one. And so it was like, oh, okay. So that's why I don't have a problem giving, because I know I'm that is a sign or a fruit that I'm blessed.
So are you very active in what church do you go to?
Rise Church Oceanside. As a matter of fact, the reason I got the suit on today is because the Rise Christian College had a graduation today. And so
we're gonna give a shout out.
We got a shout out to
the graduates.
There you go.
Okay.
And Pastor Dennis, the assistant pastor of the church, Pastor Dennis Anthony, got his honorary doctorate today.
Ooh.
So shout out to Pastor Dennis. And so there was an associate degree today, some bachelor's degrees, some master's degrees, and a doctorate.
Ooh.
So yeah, it was.
Just give me a few minutes. We'll give you time to give you all your little shout outs.
Well, what we want to do is I'm going to send you that info, because I like on your commercials you want to shout it out, because I think it's really one of those things to where these people have dedicated years.
Now, what do you do at the church? Are you a trustee or deacon?
I'm the chair of the board for the church.
I thought so. You seem very knowledgeable, and you have that. I thought first you were assistant pastor the way you were talking, but you seem like you had that authority.
Well, no, I think it's more of a servant
leadership
perspective, because for me, matter of fact, when like at the Palomar had their Black graduation they have a Black Faculty and Staff Association, and they were honoring those students that were graduating from Palomar. And one of the things I shared with them was this: there's a combination that I think you focus on for success.
Right.
We all have gifts.
Right.
And when you take your gifts and you recognize what they are, when you're younger, you don't know, but I share with young people, what do you do that your friends think is really cool that you can do, and you think it's no big deal? Whether it is art, leadership, math, science, those are your gifts. And in order for your gifts to grow, you got to work at them, you got to hone them, you got to do that. But you take your gifts, because that's not always your passion. And then you take what you're passionate about, and you take those two and you put them in a pot.
Now, I want to talk about relationships between father and daughter, because I know I've met your beautiful daughter. And so do you think it's don't you think it's your responsibility to be that example for her to look to find a good man like you?
Well, I think the what is important is that you walk in a manner that they can respect as they get older. What I have found is that for young people, their parents get smarter the older the kids get. The older they get, the smarter your parents get. Because when they're young, you don't know anything. You can't tell them anything. When they're going through those teenage years, it's like, I recall one time with my daughter, it's so funny because you know how they go through different phases and stuff like that. And I told my dad, I said, come here, give me a hug. I don't know which one of you is here, but I'm gonna hug and love on that one. So they go through that. But I think our job is really to be okay with where you are. There's a contentment with where you are, but keep striving to get better. It's a struggle when, because our kids know our flaws.
Right.
They see where we have failed.
Right.
And what you have to do is to continue to show them that it is okay to fall. What's not okay is not getting up.
Right. Well, I if that's the case with them, because when I was 19, my father bought me a car. Because he didn't want he said, I don't want any rascals to take her home. She can take her own self home. So he bought me a car. And I was like, and he gave me some credit cards to keep gas in it and stuff like that. But now once I got married, he said,
you on your own.
Yes. He kept.
She's here for you now, my brother.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I said, Daddy, you never. He said, You know that's your husband is your provider. Now I provided for you until you leave my house. So, and even though he's gone to heaven now, because my father was a minister too, I respected that now because I'm a much stronger woman because I've had challenges in my life, and so I knew how to handle those challenges. Like when my son Alfred, the drummer, Alfred, when he had a real bad seizure, and the head neurologist, called Ben Carson from Johns Hopkins to talk about my son's illness because he had a brain drip. And when the doctor came in, was a Black associate at Tri-City, and he said, Mom, you are so calm. And my daddy was standing there going, I didn't panic. They asked me, did I have a seizure diary of how many seizures he's had? And I said, yes. And my father was like,
well, he got proof that
he just shook his head like in agreement, like you hold him. And I wasn't, because when you're in society, the other society believes because you're African American, you don't know much. You're going to go into this panic zone. So I was very calm, and I just said, just take care of my child. And my father, I'll never forget that. He was so proud of it. Now I understand why he was so stern, because he was preparing me for obstacles in my life.
Well, preparation.
Right.
Preparation. And I share with people when you start talking about fatherhood. Look, I having a good relationship with my kids, they're grown. That's good now. But at the time, you know what? I'm going to do what I believe to be right. And if you dislike me right now, I pray that you grow and understand that you actually don't know everything you think you know. And where the balance is trying to figure out, when do I allow them to fall? Because mothers nurture, and oftentimes, and I'm being general, and I know somebody be like, well, you can't say that because I'm a mom and I didn't how I did. Now, I understand that. But in general, there's a nurturing spirit about them where, I'm going to take care of my baby. You raising a baby, like with my son, I'm trying to raise a man.
Right.
So there's a different approach. Right. And so it gets to a point to where you want to make sure, because we're all flawed.
Right.
And so part of it is really just trying to continue to grow and continue to do better. If my kids don't get anything else, know God, know what it is to give.
Right.
It's not complicated.
Well, that's what I said on my last show. I told my parents, write down the things that are important to you that you want to tell your children. And that's what, I'm doing that in a series. Once a week, every time I broadcast, I tell parents, I give them tidbits of what to do. And see, so last week, I told them, get on a piece of paper, write down the important things that you want your children to know. And I asked the fathers to do that too, because it's important. And then I remember my son told me, you can't make me mad. And I was like, yes, I can. If you don't like what I do, you're gonna be mad. And then I corrected him. I said, no, daddies can't make you mad. I can make you mad because if you don't obey me, you're gonna be in trouble.
Well, it's one of those things where I think right now, if you look at just if I was to carve out, say, the African American community or other BIPOC communities, there's a couple of things we need to share, and we need to share money. We need to teach our kids how to handle finances, the importance of legacy building,
Mm-hmm.
and the reason for that is when you're in a position to be able to give, you can actually make change. And I always tell people, my giving is not for me, and it may not be for that person I gave to, because it is not me to decide or to judge. It is my job to do the work.
Oh, go on.
So yeah, we do the work, and I tell people, people oftentimes you got certain scriptures just kind of stand out for you, right? and like for me, Matthew 25. And it talks about from like the 31st verse to like the end of that chapter, where he told a parable about separating the sheep from the goats.
Yeah.
And when you separate the sheep from the goats, he said, they talked about taking care of the immigrant.
Right.
Taking care of the widower.
Right.
The poor.
Right.
Clothing folks.
Right.
And you talked about the good that you do, and they say, well, Rabbi, we never did that for you. He said, well, when you did it to the least of them,
you did it to me. All right.
And so we have to recognize that there's so much more we can do. And I tell people, even in all your busy life, if you can make a phone call, you made a difference for somebody. You have to trust when something. Because it was so funny. I had somebody was telling me that my brother is a comedian, and one of his comedian friends was doing a joke. He said, "Yeah, Jesus and God got a lot of names. One of them is something." I was like, "What?" He said, "Something. Yeah, something told me to call you today." And so our job is to be in tune with our community,
right?
To not judge people because they think differently than me. My faith doesn't tell me to judge you. My faith tells me to love you. Okay?
Mm.
That's unconditional. Now, I'm not going to just give you stuff when you're abusing me and doing all that. But when we can work together and communicate and not judge anybody, then this city can take care of neighborhoods that have been gang-ridden, because we will provide resources in that community, that we will provide job training and education, and start looking at how we can make sure we have programs to give young people choices. Because to me, fatherhood is more than just me raising my kids.
Right. I was going to ask you about that.
Yeah, it's really about, like, my kids are older now, adults now. But you never stop fathering. You never stop giving. You never stop supporting. You never stop engaging, and you never stop loving. And so that's kind of how I view what Father's Day and that whole thing is about. Don't forget moms, because however good a dad I am, it is only enhanced by what my wife does to support that.
You tell your wife she's a wonderful woman, because she has her other half. Because I always say I'm the better half.
Oh, absolutely. I tell people, look, let me tell you something, man. There is no way I could do any of what I do without that partnership. And again, back to my data, studies show when your partner is supportive, you have exponential more success.
That's true. So what do you plan to do for the city? What What are you? Because we got about 10, 15 more minutes. I want you to go ahead and explain to me what you got on for the city. What would you like to be involved in?
I mean, for me, it's more of, again, a servant perspective. If I'm asked,
right,
I'm gonna see that if I can do it. I think part of what we need to do is really start collaborative efforts. Right now, there's a lot of polarization, and with polarization,
okay, some people don't understand what polarization is. So why don't you explain?
Well, if you just look at the body politic, look at how we are politically, and you'll see that there's a group of people that believe everything should be taken care of from a business perspective. But if that's all I do and I forget about communities, then you're going to be complaining about crime. And then when I got crime, you didn't have money for programs and other educational opportunities and job training, but you got money to fund the police department.
Oh.
So the money is not about whether we have the money or not. It's about what choices we make. We look at our budget. There's a saying that your budget shows your priorities. And so what I'm just really trying to do is to get those from the business community to recognize that right now you need employees. People are complaining, talking about people on the unemployment and don't want to go back to work. No, maybe I don't have childcare. Maybe I recognize that you got me working in a job where you got people who don't believe COVID is real and they coming in here coughing on me, and I'm risking my grandmother who also lives with me and my baby who also lives with me. I'm putting everyone at risk. So why don't we start looking at how we can address those issues? Do not assume. See, I always figure when people want to blame other people for stuff, see, crooks always believe everybody else is a crook. So instead of doing that, how about we get to a point of empathy and start figuring out, okay, I am going to assume the best of you until you show me otherwise. And so what I try to do is in anything we do, like right now, as one of the things we're trying to look at ways, they're legalizing marijuana, right? Okay, so it's legal, but how do we protect our children? Why don't we have some of that funding? And I recognize that they can't do it because that requires a 2/3 vote to target the funding as opposed to a 50% plus one to just charge for it. So one of the things we ought to be looking at is from the dais and the council is, what are we going to do with some of that so we can protect our young people? Because when it comes to drug abuse, alcohol abuse, the longer you avoid doing it, the least likely you are to get to have an addiction. Statistics. I don't get into, I like data. I really do, like, because we can't argue with that. The reputable research shows that. So what we want to do is we want to give our young people options. Young guy Charles is trying to do soccer training, and it's hard to get the fields because we've outsourced a lot of our fields. So it's little things like that. Why don't we make space available? The school district has property available. We keep talking about affordable housing and stuff. Well, I'd like to see the city purchase that property and let's start building some affordable housing and create a shelter so we can address our homeless issue. So I don't have to chase homeless people down for their services and for their appointments and all that, because when you're homeless, you're all over the place.
That's true. Now, I've heard that some homeless people like their lifestyle.
And that's fine. Again, the issue of housing or the unhoused,
right,
that issue is not a or B conversation.
Okay.
It's not an A or B issue.
Okay.
There are people who that's where they are mentally. And so what you want to do is you want to find, though, for those, there's mothers with children. Right. There's people with substance abuse. And there's people who are also, people assume they have mental health challenges because there are a bunch of them. But as Max over we had a conversation about homelessness with Max at the LGBTQ Center. And Max said something to me, and this stuck with me. Max said, you try not sleeping for 3 days and see how mentally fit you are. So I think it's complex, but we have to go into it being compassionate is not just saying you're compassionate.
Right.
The key is let's start creating a better relationship with the county, because the county has the mental health services and that's a part of what they do. And the city needs to begin to work and talk to the people on the ground. It's easy to go out and contract with a big old organization that does this, but there's multiple people on the ground. So we could go on and on about those kind of issues, but I think more than anything else, I would ask the people in the city of Oceanside, get involved. Where it is, whether it's your church, whether it's Little League, do something for somebody else.
Okay, so I just want to thank you. You have opened my eyes and ears to fatherhood, and I think the most that I've gotten out from your definition of fatherhood is it has to be a continuation thing. Just because your kids are old, you're not in the retirement mode. You give back to the community because the community is a legacy that keeps building and building and building. So before you go, I want you to go ahead and give your shout outs to the graduates of the Rise Church.
Well, I don't have the list with me, but because I don't want to miss anybody, and I'm really sensitive to that.
Okay,
but
so
what I'll do next time, I'll send you the list, and we can give the shout out for them.
Okay.
Because if I miss somebody, because I know Miss Jackie got her graduate, Miss Marine Jackie got hers, Miss Dana got her associate. So I want to go through the whole list. So I don't want to forget anybody.
And for coming, I have a hat for you. It's right over there. No, which one do you want? You want the Ask Mama G or the Building a Legacy?
I like Building a Legacy.
Okay.
That's all right. Yeah. Because that's the work we're all doing.
Yes.
We're all building a legacy.
It's the Mama G podcast.
Can y'all see that?
That's right.
You got it.
I want you to wear that. Will I see you Saturday at the Juneteenth?
Yeah, I'm running around because Rue Kitchen, Kiana Dodge, she's got her sauces out. You can go to ruekitchen.com, and this young lady is a friend of ours daughter, and she's doing it. And so, but she's down at the Juneteenth in San Diego. So I'm trying to run and do it all.
Oh no, tell her she needs to come to my show.
Okay.
And she can sponsor my show. I'll tell her about that.
Well, I'm gonna get you all connected, but I'm really proud of her. That whole generation of kids that all came up together. They went to homeschool at Miss LeGree.
Right.
And we just look at some of the stuff.
Because before the Rise Church was the Rise Church, my children went to a Faith Temple school.
That's right.
Because my daughter was in charge of the dance creative part, and they allowed her to do a dance at the Dome in LA. They all rode the bus, Charmaine, all of them rode the bus. And my husband, that was the first church he had joined years ago.
Okay. But that's actually how I found the church, was the school. That's how I actually started at Faith Temple, because of the school.
Yeah, and so because of my daughter's schedule at the time, and she was running up and down Hollywood, Faith Temple was the best school for her. And that allowed her to be that creative person that she is now. And now her children are all musical now.
And one of the things I know we're trying to get out of here, but do not discount the creativity of your children.
That's
because, in matter of fact, the educators understand it. Remember, it used to be they've added art into this. It used to be STEM, now it's STEAM, because they added art because it's critical. When your kids focus and are good in that art, or in music, especially when they do music, it enhances their ability to do math.
In fact, that's I'm glad you brought that up, because she took the entrance exam to Azusa Pacific University, and they told her she didn't have to take math. She was so good in it.
There you go. I'm telling you.
So, Mr. Bob, I love it. You gave me a wonderful show today. That first half of my show.
I'm glad we kind of got a chance to catch up. It's just a lot going on, but let's just keep pushing.
Yeah.
Keep pushing.
Yes, I will. So you're going to keep me abreast of what's going on, everything you're doing.
I will try. It's a lot going on.
I see that. But you wear that hat. When people ask you where you get that, you have to tell them.
All I got to do is turn around. I just turn it around. That's all.
Well, thank you, sir.
Thank you. I appreciate it. And you keep doing it. And shout out to your podcast crew. I really like the work they do here. I'm impressed, and we're gonna have to get them out because I've got some young people I want to meet them.
Okay. Yeah, God is good, because I had no idea I was going to have a podcast about raising children. But God puts things in your path to where, you have to talk. You have to tell them. Because everybody's asking me, how did you do it? How did you do it?
Share. Keep sharing.
Yeah.
Keep sharing.
So I'm going to take my break, and we're going to say goodbye to my dear friend. I've known him at least 20 years. So you have a good evening, and happy Father's Day.
Thank
and wear
you.
your hat well, and you tell him.
Proudly.
Thank you. I'll see you in a few minutes. I'm going to my break. Talk to you soon. Love you. Bye.
World Tune Radio, where the world tunes in. The West Coast's premier podcast network.
Hi, this is Mama G. I have my PhD in parental household discipline. Whatever you have in your household, I probably raised it, taught it, loved it, spanked it, punished it, and definitely prayed over it.
The West Coast's premier podcast network.
Instincts going low, looking bad like a bat with an eye patch. All black through the woods with a backpack and a lit match. Spark one time, get the whole city looking like a dark shade of orange. Wanna burn it down. What it is, what it do, hope. And everybody looking at me while I got them all in my sights. Picking them off, sticking them out, looking like daylight in the night. And I'm killing so many if they really wanna get involved. And everybody falling from the elevator, now I'm Bray Rice in this. It's like I'm rice and take a bite, it's nice. And I have a nice time with it. By the time that it finds the way to the right side of him, not even a Heimlich can save him. A selective finger to you imbeciles. Tell me what's been getting into you, envy will kill you. She said I'm a gentleman, I admit a lot of women set up on my ottoman. I don't give a damn like an auto with no time to kill. I've been feeling like the opposite of work, it's a work. And I never been a purpose thing to me. I just do what I love and it works for me. So I'm freaking every check, I put the money in the pushing me to be gunning to the finish and the getting of it. But everybody know I'm working in the sea, I do it differently. So only time will give me everything that I deserve, my end.
Hi, I'm Ryan. This is my car. Do you like it? Great. We'll get to that. Trust the process. You see, I've been going back and forth with myself, and I decided it's for sale! Sale! No, it is not! Yes, it is. See what I mean? I don't need it, but I want it. You're probably wondering what's wrong with it. I don't know. It cost me a lot to get it running, so hopefully nothing. All I'm asking is a cool $5K. Allow myself to tell you the details.
I just want to live forever. I just want my shit together. I just want my after show. I just want to eat whatever. I just want to hit the road. I just want the perfect weather.
And look at this finish, all original. Nothing says I love the US of A like lead paint, baby.
Instincts going no, looking bad like a bat with an eye patch. All black through the woods with a backpack and a lit match. Spark one time, get the whole city looking like a dark shade of orange when I burn it down. What it is, what it do, hope. And everybody looking at me while I got them all in my sights. Picking them off, sticking them out, looking like daylight in the night. And I'm killing so many if they really wanna get involved. And everybody falling from the elevator, now I'm bright rice in this. It's like I'm rice and take a bite, it's nice. And I have a nice time with it. By the time that it finds the way to the right side of him, not even a Heimlich can save him. I select the finger to you imbeciles. Tell me what's been getting into you, envy will kill you. She said I'm a gentleman, out of a lot of women set up on my ottoman. I don't give a damn like an auto with no time to kill. I've been feeling like the opposite of work, it's a work and I've never been a purpose.
Hi, everyone. I am so glad we had Rob Howard today. He gave me his definition of fatherhood, of what we need to do in the community, how we, as parents who have adult children, don't stop from giving to the community. We have to do that. We have to steadily be a part of the community. And he'll be back. He will be back. But let's talk about this weekend. This weekend is Juneteenth. On June 19th, 1865, soldiers arrived in Galvin, Texas, announcing the end of civil war and the end of slavery in the United States. It was more than 2 years after President Lincoln's Emancipation Proclamation celebrated every year on June 19th. Juneteenth commemorates the announcement of abolition of slavery and emancipation of African Americans in America. Citizens throughout the United States. So, the people in Galvin, Texas, did not know for almost 2.5 years, 3 years, that they were free. So on June 19th, an Army officer came in the town and told them that they were free. So every year, Juneteenth is celebrated. So this weekend in Oceanside, they're going to have Juneteenth. It's going to be from 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. And yours truly, representing World Tune Radio and the Ask Mama G show, will be downtown. So come by and take pictures. I will have some merchandise for donations. I will also have a fundraiser for the Rory Graham Jr. Foundation. As you know, we are trying to raise funds to have a scholarship named at the Army Navy Academy in Rory Graham Jr.'s name. He was the first African American cadet to ever serve as chaplain for 3 years. He had the largest Christian club on campus in the entirety conception of the school. So his legacy of having kids learn good morals and learn about God was historic, because he had about 46 or 50 cadets in the Fellowship of Christian Athletes, and then about 25 kids in the Cadets for Christ when he attended the school. So they never had a scholarship in the African American cadet's name permanently. And we want to make history there. So come by the booth and see me. And we're going to have our t-shirts on sale, the Mama G t-shirts. We're going to have a sweatshirt. And we're going to have a few little items you can purchase, give a donation for. But Juneteenth is a very historic day for us in the community. And we want everybody to come down and celebrate. This book that I'm holding is called Juneteenth for Maisie. You can get it at that Barnes and Noble's bookstore in Oceanside. And it tells you kids about Juneteenth on their level. It's a wonderful book. It's a wonderful book, and you need to get that and read it with your family. Now we need to do our birthday shout outs. Birthday shout outs and anniversaries. My big brother in the community, Terrence Webster, Aaron Rhodes, Alexander Postria, Alex Baldwin, Lucia McDaniel, Wanda Robinson, Bishop Levester Adams, Danita Killebrew, Clyaisha Hodo, Evan Harry, Javon Austin, Sierra Will, Michael Strickland, Robbie Haas. Thank you. I hope God will bless you this year and continue to bless you on your birthday. Anniversaries is Mr. and Mrs. John and Ann Givens and Tim and Darielle Williams. Happy anniversary. May God continue to bless your marriage. Now, let's remember this weekend. It's a very important weekend. Coming up is Father's Day. Fathers, show your children that you love them. Tell them that your responsibility is to teach them, guide them, give them good advice. And moms, support their fathers. Please support them, because we're here to help them be the men that God wants them to be. So let's support them. Let's encourage our men in our lives, because they need encouragement all the time. because society sometimes doesn't love them as much as we do. And we have to remember that we always have to tell our children respect authority. It's a matter of life or death. Please respect authority. That's what we have to do. We have to learn how to respect authority. Learn how to say yes, ma'am, no, ma'am. That's an important thing to learn and to do. We have to do that. Always. We have to do that. We always have to make sure that we know how to respect our elders, people that are in charge, people that can help you in your career, in your education. I always tell you, the government and the teacher have something in common. Whatever they do to you is permanent. The man can shoot you, and there's a permanent scar. The teacher can write something on your school record, and it won't be erased. So please teach your children that obeying and respecting authority is a life situation. I want everyone to stay healthy, get vaccinated. Don't listen to the naysayers that, oh, this is my body, I'm in control of my body. Please be in control of your body. Get vaccinated. You want to stay safe. Next time we meet, we have an essay contest going. Why is my dad so special? I want you to write a short essay, 250 words. Now, the deadline is next Friday, the 18th. And then on the 27th, we're going to have a special prize for the top essay. So the deadline is the 18th, and we'll announce the winner on the 27th. I know it's a week after Father's Day, but my producers will be off Father's Day. So we're going to announce our Father's Day contest on the 27th. And I wish my producers would come now in the studio because I want to present them with their gifts for Father's Day. Because these young men are so wonderful. They set up my studio. They're patient with me. And they do everything that I need done. So please, with my producers come in here, and I have the gift bags. Well, Mr. Chris.
I'm going to be accepting both of these because somebody's got to run the cameras.
Okay. Well, you open that green one.
All right, this one's mine?
Yes, and that one is Ryan's. All right. Now, you got to show it completely.
All right. She got me some blue tissue paper. All right. Let's see what we got in here. Ooh, it's big. Oh, she got me a card. Let's read the card first.
Yes, let's read the card first.
All right. Chris, your spirit, smile, humor, generosity, courage, wisdom, originality. All these things make you a very special man, a man worth celebrating today and always. Happy Father's Day. Karen Graham, #AskMamaG. Thank you, Mama G. You're
welcome. Thank you for being who you are to me. You know, you're my community producer son.
You know, I got to stay busy, you know? Got to make sure you're the Oprah Oceanside.
That's right.
Oh, what? Check that out.
Now look at the back.
Producer Chris.
Look at the back.
Oh, snap. Oh.
Show it really well.
I'm rocking this everywhere. Look at this. Like, Producer Chris, Ask Mama G podcast, World 2 Ready. You better subscribe on YouTube. That is awesome, Mama G. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you.
I love you, Mama G.
Thank you. So, Mr. Ryan, you have yours too. I didn't forget you either. You have yours. So when y'all go out, y'all gonna say, "Who's Mama G?" Y'all can tell them who.
Turn around. There it is. Thank you, Mama G.
You're welcome. Now, everybody, please have a wonderful weekend next weekend. I'm going to celebrate Father's Day. Even though my father is in heaven, I have to celebrate my children's father. He's a wonderful guy. He's a good provider. So you guys have a wonderful weekend. Now, we still have the Rory Graham Jr. Foundation, and we're trying to have a scholarship in his name at Army Navy Academy. You can send donations to P.O. Box 4306, Oceanside, California, 92052, or Cash App Rory G. J.R. Foundation. God bless you. Please tell your children to do the essay because I want to hear how special dads are. Remember, God loves you and so does Mama G. See you soon. God bless. Bye-bye.
Lift every voice and sing till earth and heaven ring, ring with the harmonies of liberty. Let our rejoicing rise high as the listening skies. Let it resound loud as the rolling sea. Sing a song full of the faith that the dark past has taught us. Sing a song full of the hope that the present has brought us. Facing the rising sun of a new day begun. Let us march on till victory is won. America, America, God shed his grace on thee and crown thy good with brotherhood. From sea to shine.